Welcome to the Startup Leader Show, where we learn lessons from startup founders and executives. I am your host, Lisa Dreher, and I'm really excited to introduce our guest for today, Danny Jaques. He is the creator of Danny's Rocket Ranch Space Salsa. Welcome to the show, Danny.
Lisa, thank you for having us on. This is just a wonderful opportunity to share my love of space food, and space camp. Thank you.
Absolutely. So maybe you can start by just giving us a little bit of background on yourself and Danny's Rocket Ranch Space Salsa.
Well, I spent most of my life as a career middle school educator. Spent 36 years in the classroom and teaching middle school students in Colorado and New Mexico. And that's what I've been. It's math and science and just about every other topic, game generation, rocketry. So I was that little kid that wanted to be an astronaut, but never quite got there. But I knew I could teach about rocketry and space in my hometown. So that's where I ended up. And about 32 years ago, I knew there was a place called Space Camp. So I said, I'm gonna go there, see what it's all about. I went there and said, I have to bring kids there. So as I progressed through my life, I would always take my fresh salsa to share with people at Space Camp, and people would inadvertently ask, "Have you ever thought of packaging this and selling it?" And I said, "Well, never thought about it because there's tons of salsa out there." But one time back in 2018, I'm very proud to be a member of the Space Camp Hall of Fame. I was around my fellow Space Camp Hall of Famers, and one of the hardest things always to do is to raise money to go to Space Camp. So I thought, what if I can make a product and we can sell it, and it would help kids go to Space Camp? They thought it was a great idea. So that was in 2018. So I went home with that idea in my mind. How can I do this? So I thought, well, it's got to be different if I'm going to do salsa, because there's tons of salsa out there in stores. So let's make it look like the Apollo food, where you just add hot water, mix it up, and voila, you got salsa. So there's the connection right there. You should make a good fresh salsa. So let's try doing this. So it took me about 9 months to go through the scientific process, sampling, sending it out to various individuals, until I think it was about 11 or 13 times or trials that I got the salsa. So I said, okay, it's got to be spacey. We got to have a spacey name. My first name's Danny. My last name's Jaques. It's really hard to pronounce my last name, so Danny's
Yeah.
pretty easy. So Danny's Rocket Ranch was invented with our Danny's Rocket Ranch Martian Spicy Original Salsa. Just add hot water, mix it up, and you have salsa. So that's how it started out. I took it back to Space Camp, kind of snuck it into the breakfast line, and everybody tried it and loved it. So that's how we launched Danny's Rocket Ranch and the Space Salsa.
Wow. Amazing. 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 That is so incredibly cool and exciting. So, as you think about this whole, I guess, journey that you've been on to get to where you are today, what have been some of the biggest keys to your success so far?
Well, the taste of the salsa is always good when you put it on a chip into your mouth. And I just want to remind 10% of our profits are for Space Camp scholarships. So it was started for that specific purpose. But getting it into people's mouths, I know the packaging, it doesn't look like salsa. So once they put it in their mouths, they love it. It's just getting the word out to people to try it.
Right, right, right. That's great. So I guess talk a little bit more about just kind of was it the idea of trying to help kids get to space camp that was the driving factor, or was it that you had this salsa idea? Like which one kind of came first?
That's easy, Lisa. It was helping kids. It was always hard to raise funds, and the idea was having a product that we can create, that's a good product that people could buy, and part of the profits would go to Space Camp scholarships. So that was the driving force. I saw what Space Camp did for kids. I have one young man that's working for NASA at Glenn Research Center. Had a couple students go to the Air Force Academy, some fighter pilots, chopper pilots. So it was an opportunity. I saw the opportunity that, especially kids in rural southwestern Colorado, didn't have a chance. We started this before the internet, where you'd have to write everywhere. So it started to help kids, because as Krista McAuliffe said, I teach the future. I touch the future. I teach. So it's something I want to pass along, that love of space and to touch the future, to help kids reach for the brass ring, reach for the stars, and maybe push themselves to be to be a little bit better, or not better, help them along. And most of the kids out in the country here were rural, a lot of low income families. So they just need a helping hand. So that's what I want to do. That's what I've dedicated the rest of my life. Me and my lovely forever bride, Laura, have decided that that's what we want to do.
That's really sweet. So tell me about, if we're kind of getting into space camp season, right? So we talked a little bit before the show, and you mentioned that you have some campers that are going off to space camp. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, usually it starts a year in advance, but we just put it out on social media, local newspaper, asking kids or friends who wants to go to space camp. Because we need a year to build up the money, do fundraisers, all sorts of things to gather up money. Now, a lot of times, parents and uncles and aunts and grandparents that chip in, and I chip in where I can to help the kids. So we find sponsors and help the kids out. So we have 8 intrepid adventurers, 8 students that are going, and also some excited chaperones that are accompanying us, that want to know what space camp is all about. They've heard me talk about it locally for years. So they want to go and see what it's all about.
Wow. Okay. So you've gone far beyond just Space Salsa. There are other products now. So what else have you brought into the product line?
Well, it was kind of a progression, a natural progression. Well, just personally, well, you get chips and salsa. You need a beverage to go along with it. So I first developed a space margarita, and we have 2 flavors. It's we call it a Marzarita, which is a traditional lime margarita, and a Tangerita, which tastes is orange and tastes a lot like Tang. Yeah, of course, you have to add the alcohol along with the water and the ice, but all these are dehydrated, so they're very easy to pack and carry. So that's what I think: chips and salsa and a margarita. Also, if you don't put the alcohol in it, it's also lunar limeade and Artemis orange. Again, so I love the space theme because I'm kind of a nutty guy, and this is progressive. So if you're drinking those, you also need something to wake you up in the morning. So I've developed a dehydrated coffee that you just add hot water, and we've developed either just plain coffee, coffee and cream, and coffee, cream, and sugar. And some are some funny names. A good friend of mine likes the salsa and the margaritas and the drinks. He said, "Hey, can you make a coffee?" And this was just last year. And I said, "Well, I can try." So he's from Canada. So he's ever heard of a double double? I go, "No, educate me." So he tells me 2 creams, 2 sugars. So I put my thinking cap again on, and he smacks me on the shoulder and says, "And you can call it Screaming Beaver," in connection with it's Canadian. So I had to figure out what's going to make it Canadian. And the secret I came up with was the Canadian maple sugar. So it has a unique taste to it, and it's very popular. I started as a joke, but it's becoming very, very popular. So and then I love coming up with the names. Since the coffee and the cream, I call that alien abduction coffee, because I found a cute little label that's aliens are picking up cows, and they've taken them to test them and found out that they have really a delightful liquid in them called milk and cream. So we add it to so it's kind of tongue in cheek. It's fun. And we got to make it fun. Take a little bit of light, because space is hard, as I said before, and you want to enjoy it. But there's not a lot of astronauts out there, so we spread it across the United States, and people are part of it. And when they consume the product and buy the product, they're helping kids reach for the stars.
That's really amazing. Okay, so have your products actually gone to space?
Well, not yet. I say
Oh,
that we've come in there. We've sent it to NASA. We've sent it to some private space again Blue Origin, Virgin Galactic, SpaceX. So they haven't acknowledged us yet, but we're working on it. We're not going to give up. We're
That's
going to
great.
keep.
Well, we have a lot of people in the space industry that listen to this, so you never know. Maybe somebody will have some connections out there, and they'll get the space salsa out into space.
And we'll do some bartering. We'll chase some product with you. I've already had a couple of companies that partner with, and especially in the intuitive machines. We at the launch party, I probably say Burns and McDonald commissioned me to make a moon margarita. So at their launch party, we had Danny's Rocket Ranch. Well, it was theirs, Burns and McDonald margarita mix.
All right. That's great. Okay. So going back in time, if you were to start all over, is there anything that you would have done differently?
The first thing, I would have found people in the industry. It was a hit and miss for me, almost like walking around in a dark room. Find people who maybe are food experts or know something about supply chains. So I kind of did this haphazardly, and then people gave me suggestions. So I would have probably shortened my time maybe about a year where I am now, just by getting some good advice. But I took advice from friends, and they gave me some good advice. But as the marketing part, I didn't know. I knew how to make a good product. I knew I believed in myself, but I didn't have the expertise in marketing. So I'd have reached out to found some mentors, and especially how to you make a good product, but how do you get it distributed? So that's the number one thing I would have done.
Yeah, gotcha. That makes sense. Okay, so with a lot of startups, you kind of inevitably run into those roadblocks along the way. How have you found are the most effective ways to just work through those roadblocks?
Never give up, never surrender. Just keep going. I found out I do have little affirmations up, and I said, you're doing this to help kids. So that keeps me, in case you have a down day, you go, oh, I am the CEO and the janitor. So I am all things because we're just a small company, but I thoroughly enjoy it. It invigorates me. I get up because I know what I do is helping kids. So it just tenacity. You just
Yeah,
have to keep that. Just got to be tenacious, especially when you're just a small company. And if
right.
you're a company of one, you just gotta get after it and never give up.
Great. Okay, so how many kids have been to space camp as a result of Danny's Rocket Ranch, Space Salsa, and all of your other products?
With this group, it'll be I started back 32 years ago, but helping me personally, 554 56 kids currently.
Wow, that is amazing. Well, congratulations on that. That is just really spectacular. Now, if somebody wanted to get some of this amazing salsa and the margarita mix or the drink mix or coffee, what should they do?
Well, our website, we go to our website. It's www.dannysrocketranch.com. Or if you Google Space Salsa, I think we're on Google. We're 8 of the first 10 entries. So you can just remember Space Salsa. That's the key. It'll take you right to our website.
Fantastic. Well, I just want to thank you so much for the amazing work that you're doing to help all of these kids get to space camp and at the same time bringing to market a really cool product.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you for the opportunity to spread the word, spread the love of Space Salsa and Space Camp.
Absolutely, my pleasure. And I do want to take a moment to thank GuideForce for hosting these sessions. To learn more about GuideForce, you can visit guideforce.com. And we'll see you next time on the Startup Leaders Show.